Yeah, hi, this is a SIIG USB over IP, and the model is just says USB over IP, and it supports Windows. Doesn't support anything else like Mac or Linux. It looks very simple. It's actually very small. It looks bigger on when I saw it on Amazon. It looked like it was the size of a router, but it's actually the size of just a few fingers. So it's got only one green power LED here. On one side it has a USB, which you can just plug in any USB device. There's the back of it. And even though it says default IP and it gives you this 169 strange IP, if you just plug it into your router, it'll just acquire whatever IP that your router provides. And then on the other side, you got a power adapter that you can plug in. It's a 5 volts and 2 amps, and you plug in a standard Ethernet, fast Ethernet 10 or 100 megabits. It doesn't support gigabits, but it really doesn't matter. It's just USB. And then so it takes a USB, like a memory card or whatever, and it sends it over to your IP network. And it just comes with a CD-ROM and a simple manual, which is the manual is not very accurate, but it supports Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows XP servers and things. All right. So if you just plug it in, you see the power light and you see the Ethernet lights. I just broke the connection because I bent it. And I'm just going to check the IP of that. And once you get the IP, which you could check with well, I have a tool called NMAP, Nmap, and you can get that with any Linux machine. And what you gotta do is check the MAC address. So for mine, it's a 10.0.2.8.208. I can see the brand there, but the MAC address, and well, you can see by the brand, but the MAC address is right there, and it just shows you back of the device is the MAC address, and you use Nmap, and with options a small s, a large P, capital P, and then your IP, and then go over to the browser, and as soon as you put in the IP, it just shows you the page, the info page, and there's no password, so there's no security on there. There's no way to put a password on there to view the settings, so you're gonna have to put this behind a firewall. Make sure it's behind a firewall. It gives you the first thing happens is status, network, and then you can change the password, which actually when you change the settings is only available through the software, the SIIG software. Alright, so I'm going to do that. DHCP. So it picks up an IP from your router, and then you can check with your browser, and then you put in the CD-ROM and install the software appropriate for your device. So in there, there's actually 3 folders: one for XP, one for Windows 7 and 8 and things like that. So once you install the software, it makes you reboot, and then right after reboot, you can actually first you see after you reboot, you see the icon here, Launch USB Server. But to check to make sure that it's actually there, you can click. Well, I'm using XP, but you can do it with anyone, with any Windows product. Right click on my computer, Properties, and click Hardware and Device Manager, and down to USB, and you'll see it says I'm gonna start it. Actually, when you start the device, it finds it automatically. It gives you the IP here. Tells you all that. So I'm just going to minimize that for now. And it's right there. It's in my computer, Properties, and USB controllers. And then it says Network USB Device XP. And if you're using Windows 7, it would probably say Device 7 or 8 or 2000 or whatever you're using. And check Properties, and you see it looks like another USB device. And then so I plug in something, let's say SD card, for example. So let's say plug in an SD card in there. Okay, so my SD card lights up, and Windows tells me that something was plugged in, and it sees it as a standard USB device and not as this black box, but it sees the USB device itself. So you can plug in a sound card or a video card or anything USB, your camera or anything, and it shows up. There's a USB server, that's the little device, and then there's my little SD card. And so if I open up Explorer with Windows key and E, I can see that removable disk drive E, and I got all my files on there. There's my little disk drive. It's an old 2 GB disk drive. There it is. And again, as with any standard USB device, I could eject it or whatever. So I could just eject it. And when I click on the little USB server, the USB over IP device, and it shows you that there's something connected. Generic USB 2 card, which is this little guy here, and I can remove it. And so it's gone, and I could just unplug it. Let's take it out, and it's gone. See, it disappears. And you don't actually need to exit out of this, so you just minimize it and it just disappears. And that's all that it is to to use this guy. So it takes to use this USB over IP device. The software is very low amount of software. So I think it's like 35 megabytes for all three of them. For I think there's 6 drivers in this, 6 executables in there. What else? That's it. There. It doesn't look like there's any way to adjust the properties over your web browser, because there's just no option to do that. So the only way is with the CD software to change options. What else about this? It feels warm, a little warm. It's got a little smell to it. That's it. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I'm just gonna disassemble this, and you need one of these pry bars, one of these guys. You can go to Amazon and look for a pry bar, and these just pries open electronics. It's made of plastic, and it won't scratch your electronics. And all you gotta do is just move it across like that, and that just breaks it open. Just breaks it open. It's easy. And that's the inside. And this sticker doesn't cover any screws. Usually you get stickers that cover up screws, but this one doesn't. There's only 2 screws in here. Okay, 1 and 2. Everything just comes right out. 2 panels here. And there's a little device. It's got a couple of voltage regulators. Little fuse there. Bunch of diodes. There's a reset button. And there's the controller. The Ethernet controller here. Okay. A little crystal. So let's plug it in and see how much heat it generates. Doesn't feel like anything. Barely warm. Okay, we're gonna wait a while and see how hot it gets. Alright, so let's check the temperature. It's already got the USB device plugged in, and it's activated on Windows, and it's being used for about 10 minutes already. So let's check the temperature. Highest temperature 116 degrees Fahrenheit, and to the touch, it's not even noticeable. It's just barely warm to the touch. Processor and everything else just barely warm. The other components on the other side, it's not really even noticeable. The voltage regulators, not even warm. Yes. Not even hardly warm. Alright. So I guess just put it back together. Wow. Alright, so let's unplug it. Power. Okay, the two screws go with the Ethernet port here. The Ethernet port has two screws, the other one doesn't. Okay, it goes in this way. And it's the other side of the panel. The curved side is up, flat side is down. There's going to be a little bit of resistance here because the this part here, the USB that was springing out there, push out a little bit. So it's a little springy because of the USB. Clicks right in place. Top part will just snap right back together. LED and a little hole there for the power. The power LED is this guy here. So just make sure to line that. And it just snaps right back together. Carefully. Snapping it back together. Right, so there you go. Right, so just plug it back in, I guess. it still works. Okay, thanks for watching.